And hello, good evening to you. Just after 8 o'clock here in Little Rock, you're looking at a live picture right now from northwest Arkansas. That's up there in the Fayetteville area. And RDOT already reporting some slowdowns on the interstates there. And they have now activated some of their winter storm maps across the state. This, of course, expected as there are several winter storm warnings, ice storm warnings the National Weather Service has issued. And the person who's tracking it very closely and has been for the last several days is Arkansas Storm Team KARK Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan. He is there in the Weather Center. And Keith, really have to point out here, the last 2 days as I walk into the Weather Center and we're talking about these streams and we're talking about when we're going to do them, you and Hayden have been so detailed about how you're putting this forecast together. Kind of walk us through some of the new data that you guys were analyzing, I guess, just today, as we know that we're now just a couple hours away from this event.
Well, interestingly enough, Mitch, National Weather Service offices across the country send up weather balloons. And those weather balloons, when they go up in the atmosphere, the wind blows them. They are tracked, so we know which direction the wind is coming from at different levels. And also there's readings for temperature and humidity. And the release from Little Rock that was at 6 o'clock this evening indicated it is currently 50 degrees at 3,000 feet above the ground level. So that's the situation we're dealing with. We're dealing with a storm system that's going to have a lot of moisture. It starts at snow on the highest levels, and then it's going to hit that pretty thick layer of 50-degree air, completely turn to liquid or rain, and then fall into that low-level air that is getting to be below freezing and will continue to cool through the overnight hours. And that's why this could be a very high-impact storm, because we have that warm layer just above the surface in central, east, and south Arkansas. And of course, once that liquid rainfall hits that colder air and the surfaces that colder air is making cold, like trees and power lines and roadways, it instantly freezes up. And of course, ice is going to add a lot of weight to trees and power lines. And that's why there's an increasing likelihood of multi-day power outages across parts of the state, especially from Little Rock, east central Arkansas up to northeast Arkansas, where there could be some significant ice accumulations, a half inch in some places up to an inch, maybe a little bit more.
Wow, really looking at really a prolonged weather event. And I know we were talking about some of this new information that's coming in, and I was looking at some tweets from the National Weather Service, and they're saying that it is now officially 32 degrees up there at the North Little Rock Airport, and they're saying that these temperatures are falling pretty quick across the metro. And this is something you guys had been telling us all day, even yesterday, the day before, that once this cold front starts to come through, we're going to feel it, and we're going to feel it fast.
Yes, and that sub-freezing air is going to make it probably to within 2 rows of counties north of the Louisiana state line by tomorrow morning. And then by tomorrow afternoon, the entire state will be at or below freezing. That's why we have winter storm warnings and ice storm warnings and winter weather advisories in effect for every one of the 75 counties. Now, winter storm warning, if you're looking at the map right now, those are the counties highlighted in white. The counties highlighted in purple, east central and northeast Arkansas, that's where we have that ice storm warning. The predominant precipitation type is going to be ice. And that's where the biggest impact to electrical infrastructure and tree damage is expected. Southeast, southwest Arkansas, winter weather advisory in effect, which means travel could be a little bit slippery. Now, as far as what we're expecting to happen over the next several hours, radar right now showing that expanding precipitation field now inching into western and northwest Arkansas. We're looking at areas of sleet and some freezing drizzle continuing. Up in the Boston Mountains, snow is going to be the primary precipitation type for northwest Arkansas. That warm layer is not going to impact those folks up there because it's going to be below freezing throughout the entire atmosphere. Now, as we go through the rest of the evening hours, the forecast radar will continue to show that expanding area of precipitation moving in. I think by midnight here in Little Rock, we're really going to start to see that rain coming down, and it will be freezing on contact with surfaces. Of course, northwest Arkansas, all snow. Arkadelphia back to Queen and to the south and west, all rain. Could be even a couple of thunderstorms with this freezing rain and rain a little bit later on tonight as that vigorous storm system rides along the edge of that colder air. By 3 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're looking at widespread freezing rain across much of central and northeast Arkansas. Closer you are to that snow line in the northwest part of the state, you'll start to pick up a transition to sleet. And that sleet will be working its way southeastward right ahead of that snow line throughout the course of Thursday. The good news is we are going to see the storm system rapidly move out to the point where the heaviest precipitation will be over, but the damage will already be done by about noon or 1 o'clock. We could have a couple of areas of sleet and snow showers in central and eastern Arkansas by late tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. And then it looks like perhaps a couple of periods of light snow or flurries tomorrow night with very small accumulations possible. Now, how much to expect? Well, it's going to be a rather significant storm. 4 to 8 inches of snow and a little bit of sleet is forecast for north central into northwest Arkansas. That would be places like Fayetteville, over to Harrison, as well as into Mountain Home. And that's in the white contours. In the blue contours from Pocahontas, Batesville, Clinton, and the River Valley out west to Fort Smith, we're looking at about a 1/4 inch of ice accumulation and then a quick transition to 2 to 5 inches of sleet and snow across the pink colored areas, northeast Arkansas through near Little Rock and out to the west, including the northern and central Ouachitas, a 1/2 inch, I should say a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch of ice, with perhaps up to about an inch of sleet and snow. The biggest concern is going to be in the purple shaded areas from near Little Rock, uncomfortably close to Little Rock, through Grant County, eastern parts of Hot Spring County, Pine Bluff, northern and central Arkansas County, along and south of Interstate 40, all the way to Memphis and southward to Helena, West Helena. That's where we could see a 1/2 inch to an inch of ice. And that is the kind of ice that will bring down power lines and trees and cause pretty extensive damage. Across South Arkansas, you folks down there, two tiers of counties closest to the Louisiana state line, you can be rained for a good portion of this. But by early tomorrow morning, you'll probably transition over into a little bit of freezing rain. And across South Arkansas, mainly a rain event with just a trace of sleet and snow possible in the afternoon. So it does look like, Mitch, this is going to be a very high impact winter storm, from heavy snow to significant sleet amounts to significant ice accumulations on trees and power lines. And of course, roadways. That'll be expected a little bit later on tonight.
Yeah, all of this is really concerning. We're going to talk with Entergy live here in just a moment, because Entergy did put out a warning earlier today that outages are likely from this event. And looking at the map here, Keith, is it fair to say, are we kind of getting an idea of where some of these outages could be based off of this index that we're seeing?
Well, the Winter Storm Severity Index is something we look at, and obviously the hotter the colors, the orange, reds, and purples, that's where we're going to see significant potential for infrastructure damage, and that would include in and near the Little Rock area in the red colors. Major winter storm is expected. The purple colors in northeast Arkansas, it's pretty much going to be a significant ice storm. So I would say anywhere in those orange colors from central Arkansas back toward Hot Springs area and then east and northeast, that's where we're going to see the biggest potential for that significant freezing rain.
All right, a lot to process here. And I guess for some people who may be wondering, well, you know what, when do you think the first chance would be for us to safely get back out on the road? Keith, just based off of your assessment, based off of your knowledge, especially covering weather, I mean, are we looking at maybe Friday morning we can get back to somewhat of a normal routine?
No, I don't think so, to tell you the truth,
Okay.
Mitch. Ice. Now, for Northwest Arkansas, it's very easy to plow snow, and and it is not as slippery as, of course, freezing rain is. Now, sleet is a whole nother monster, we'll call it, because once you get sleet on the ground, it compacts and then it turns into a sheet of ice. So essentially, it's kind of similar to freezing rain. You can't get a plow down there to break through it. Same with freezing rain. Once that ice is the roadway up, the only thing you could do effectively is get some, melting materials down there, whether it be salt or the spray. Now, RDOT can't go out and pre-treat roads in central Arkansas because we're going to start as rain. Any pre-treatment they do is going to be washed off. So we're basically going to have to count on, some type of salt treatment on some of the roadways. I think RDOT will be hitting the interstates pretty hard. I think those will be the first to be in better condition. And we could make some headway once precipitation starts to end by about lunchtime tomorrow, or we'll say tapers off. It won't completely end. But I really think a lot of the counties and the municipalities are going to have a real tough time getting the hundreds and hundreds, thousands of roads treated. It's just not something we're used to here in the South. I think the best possible outcome is going to be the sun being out by Friday mid-morning and temperatures going above freezing. That's going to do most of the work that needs to be done to get these roadways melted. And again, areas that see snow, they're going to be in better shape far quicker. Areas that see freezing rain and sleet, it's going to be a longer process.
All right, definitely not what we wanted to hear from you, Keith, but we appreciate it. You're not paid to always give us the good news. You're here to give us really this information as it comes in, and you're able to really give us a perspective on how this is all going to transpire over the next 48 hours or longer. And for folks that are going to be in this impact zone for possible power outages, it could be longer than 48 hours. So
yeah, some of the indications are, at least based on something called the SPIA index. It's a number that's worked up for utility companies, and even the folks from Entergy might be familiar with it. We're looking on a scale of 0 to 5. Central, East Central, and Northeast Arkansas are in the 2 to 3 category. And that would indicate anywhere from 24 hours to 5 days of repair work that needs to be done. So it could be several days. So I would suggest make sure all your stuff is charged up as much as you can. It's not going to last for 5 days. It's going to be tough to get out, but just be careful with alternate electrical and heat sources because we don't want to have any fires or any carbon monoxide poisonings for folks. Just be smart and prudent in how you keep your family warm and how you power your house if you do have a generator.
All right, Arkansas Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan here with us here tonight, tracking all of this. Keith, we appreciate your time. We're going to talk with Entergy now, and we appreciate everything that you guys are doing over there at the Arkansas Storm Team. While we transition and we welcome in Brandy Hinkle from Entergy, now is the time to be reminded that you can download the Arkansas Storm Team app on your phone. You can also download the KARK4 News app on your phone as well, and you can be sent live updates on this storm situation as it unfolds. We'll get alerts, send alerts straight to your phone, and we can keep you updated as this storm continues to unfold. You're looking live again at our Simmons Bank tower camera. It's the Simmons Bank building downtown. You see power, electricity on, Entergy fueling the state along with other energy companies across to Arkansas tonight. And the real question here is how long will these lights stay on? Entergy telling us earlier tonight that there is outages are likely from this. This is going to be a potential storm that is going to bring in ice and snow, and eventually some of that ice may cause power lines to collapse. I want to bring in Brandy Hinkle now. Brandy, thank you so much. I feel like every time we talk, it's the worst possible scenario. So I do appreciate your time tonight. Kind of give folks an idea that are just opening up the app maybe on their smartphones or joining us on social media. What are you guys preparing for? Because we did get that alert tonight that you are preparing. You are saying that outages are likely here.
Well, I think your weather team has remarked about the difficulty in forecasting freezing rain and where that line might be across the state. And of course, we listen to all of those national guys, the local guys as well, to determine how we need to prepare. So we typically will over prepare, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And that's what we've done now. We've got about 3,000 folks in place across the state, plus all the resources they need, whether that's equipment, power poles, lines. We know that this storm is unfortunately going to cause outages, and it could be widespread and for quite a while. I think you guys also mentioned, it could be anywhere from 24 hours, 3, 4, 5 days, depending on where the most damage is. Based on the forecast, like I said, we have positioned people around the state where we expect they will be the hardest hit. That could change. But again, based on what we've seen, this freezing rain is really going to start moving in about midnight and continue to fall for anywhere from 12 to 18 hours.
Really an unbelievable system that has set up here on the natural state. Brandy, when looking at this, you mentioned it, you said it earlier, this is different. I mean, when we're talking ice, outages are likely here. And one thing that I thought was interesting, and it was right up until tonight, that Keith Monahan, chief meteorologist here, said that the greatest uncertainty is in, a checked line, and that's where, we're still kind of hashing out those details. We're still hashing out those concerns. So you guys on the Entergy side, monitoring the same thing. Also, I'm sure, talking with the National Weather Service, and you guys were almost playing that game too. Where do we need to put our crews so that way they can be deployed as quickly as possible?
Sure. I mentioned we move folks around the state, and oftentimes we can focus on maybe one quarter. Well, because this has been kind of a moving target, we couldn't move everybody out of central Arkansas up to the north because, again, some of that weather is going to hit us around Little Rock, even as far down as Pine Bluff. And in fact, the forecast changed a bit today, so it's going to be a little more further south. So we are constantly rearranging and moving materials, trying to get people where they need to be before the weather hits, because when you're in the middle of a storm, it's very difficult to move people and resources and vehicles and things like that. Safety is our core value. It's priority number one for our folks as well as our customers. So we try to get everything where it needs to be so that we are able to react and act as quickly as possible. So again, we've set up our baseload teams as well as extras that we've called in from several states, Florida, Alabama, Missouri, Tennessee. We have it as well so that we can begin as quickly as possible and get as many people back online as possible. Again, we do expect that there will be widespread outages. Mentioned earlier about the heavy weight of freezing rain and how it is so much more difficult to keep our lines and tree limbs from falling, and so it can just cause a lot of damage in a widespread area. So we are trying to set folks up where we can do the best and the most work, but we do ask that you be patient with us. Again, we don't send our crews out until we know that it's not going to be too dangerous for them. We are using drones and helicopters, but they can only fly when the wind's at a certain amount. We can't get our bucket trucks up in the air to start replacing poles or things like that either. So we have to be careful. We don't want even to, the walkways are slick. If you have a lineman who falls and injures himself, he's not going to be able to get up on that pole and help string the wire. So we try to be careful, and we want our customers to be careful as well. If you go out to assess the damage, stay away from those trees that are covered in freezing rain, and the lines too, because those lines and those tree limbs not only fall on property, but people, and cause injury. So if you see downed lines, please stay away and call and report those to us at 1-800-ENTERG.
And Brandy, I just want to ask and more clarify one thing, if you don't mind. When referring to trying to get power restored, there's really no magic number to this. But I mean, is there a possibility that some people could be faced with, I think you said 5 days? I mean, are we looking at this being, I mean, if you're without power, is it possible that you're without power for up to 5 days, maybe longer?
That would be a very small number of our customers, and those are going to be people who maybe their home was damaged because of tree limbs and they're unable to take power. We may get everything fixed on our end, whether it's transmission or distribution lines, but when it comes to a neighborhood, but there may be a home or two within a neighborhood that can't accept power until maybe they have some repairs done by another electrician. So it won't be very many people, but yes, there's definitely a possibility, because this freezing rain can cause so much damage to equipment, to homes, to power lines, that there may be a handful of people who won't have power through the weekend. We'll continue to work as long as we're able to until everybody has power, but it's kind of hard to pin down how many people that would be. Again, a small number. We do expect widespread outages. Hopefully they won't be lengthy, but if I could tell you the future, I'd be buying lottery tickets every day.
You would. I was going to say you should, if you can. You have to hit up the nearest gas station before they close.
Right.
But this could be a prolonged, multi-day event of somebody being without power.
Absolutely, and it's going to be so cold. We know that, it's not just a luxury to have electricity. For some people, it is a necessity. So we hope that those folks had made backup plans in case, they're on breathing machines and things like that they need. We actually work with customers beforehand to make sure that they have battery backup, that, they have access to some of the programs we have to help make sure that we're aware if there's someone who's, for example, on hospice or something of that nature in their home. We always get those critical municipalities, emergency, police and fire departments. We try to get those online first. Congregate housing, nursing homes, things like that. We have a very methodical process for how, who we return power to and how, so that, again, the greatest number are brought back online as quickly as possible. So again, our line workers are amazing. The people who support them are great too. It's all hands on deck. It's round the clock. So we appreciate the patience that our customers have with us, and just know that we're working and doing the very best we can to get your power back on.
Yeah, you guys are going to be working around the clock. There's a few points I want to make here, if you don't mind, Brandy, and that is we have been looking at various traffic cameras across the state, RDOT. These cameras right here, and I don't know if you noticed it, Brandy, but I have seen throughout a couple of these live pictures vehicles with emergency lights on, emergency flashing lights on. Obviously things are turning dangerous up in Northwest Arkansas. Right now you see some roads, it looks like, I don't know if Keith isn't on anymore. I don't know if that's snow or if that is sleet that has now starting to fall and is now nearly covering some of these main arteries of Fayetteville. Obviously, this is turning very dangerous, very fast. RDOT earlier today, or excuse me, yesterday, making the announcement, asking people to stay off the roads beginning tonight. So if you are on the roads, if you don't have a reason to be on the roads, you are asked to not travel. It is going to be dangerous, and they're asking people not to travel for numerous reasons. One being, crews need to get out. Crews need to be able to try and clear these roads as quickly as possible. Another reason is they were not able to pre-treat a majority of these highways. That has been noted before because of the rain earlier today. So if there were roads pre-treated, it was very last minute, and roads that were pre-treated, some of it may have washed away from the rain earlier today. Another reason to stay off the roads if you can is because of the electrical crews, the energy crews that are going to be on this road. It's already, Brandy, incredibly dangerous to be trying to restore power in the middle of an ice storm, let alone try and get from point A to point B while maneuvering in and out of all of this various traffic.
Right. And I mentioned earlier, we try to keep our crew off the road when it's terribly dangerous, but in the event of an emergency, if there's a fire or something of that nature, yes, we will absolutely respond as quickly as we can. But in order to do that, we hope that the roads will be as safe as possible. And that means if there are cars that don't have to be out there, if you're not an emergency, first responder or somebody with the utility, please stay home. We also don't need folks hitting our power poles and causing even more damage and taking out more power than just the storm itself. So yes, we appreciate customers who stay home and stay off the roads for their safety and for ours as well.
Brandy Hinkle from Entergy here tonight. Brandy, Thank you so much for everything that you guys are doing. Thank you for everything that you guys will continue to do in the middle of this winter storm, this ice storm situation that is starting to unfold across our state. We know that you guys are going to be working around the clock, helping as many Arkansans as possible during this weather event. So really appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It helps so much for you all to give us time to talk to your audiences. And we just hope everybody is safe and take care.
Yes, Brandy Hinkle from Entergy, thank you again for your time tonight. Truly appreciate it. We're going to just reset here. It is now the bottom of the hour, 8:30 here in Little Rock, and the state is bracing for a major winter weather event tonight. You were just looking a minute ago at those live pictures from Northwest Arkansas. You see it there, folks. You can see that this interstate is either snow covered or partially snow covered, or this is sleet. I'm going to try and get with a meteorologist to try and help us figure that out. But in the meantime, there are a few different things that I want to point out before we wrap up here, and that is what the resources are, the resources that are available to you here in the coming hours, because this is going to be a significant situation that is going to unfold across the state. Let's go to the smart board here in Studio B, because there is certainly a lot for us to share with you here tonight. So here at the smart board, this is the Entergy map. I do want to just touch on, because we were just talking to Brandy, at last check there were no major outages, and really the outages would be south, and I'm not seeing anything significant. But long story short, this is the iDrive map. This is where we can monitor these road conditions in real time. We can monitor how quickly things are changing on Arkansas interstates, and you can see it here, folks. And let me go ahead and turn. I have the capability of turning on the weather. I just have to click the right one. We can turn on the weather radar here, and it looks like there is, the transition, either snow or sleet here in Northwest Arkansas. And when you look at I'm going to go to our pen tool. I want to change the color. You can easily, well, red probably isn't the best choice here. This is obviously Northwest Arkansas, and you can see already right here on the interstate, things are already starting to get very, very dangerous. Things are starting to slow down in Northwest Arkansas, and that's likely going to be the trend overnight. But that trend is going to move south, and it's going to move towards Little Rock, and it's going to start to have an impact on the metro area. So there are a lot of concerns here across the area. There is just one incident in Arkadelphia. This, I'm assuming, is going to be not weather related, considering things are pretty dry over there in just south in Arkadelphia. But this, folks, this is what the Arkansas Storm Team has been telling us for days about, and it is this ice and snow that is going to create a major issue for everyone on the roads. And you can see that is already the case up here in Northwest Arkansas. And I want to go through, and I want to bring up, as we look at, and if you're looking at that bottom right hand corner image, I'm going to bring that full. That is what Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan is looking at right here. And you can see this is going to be the Winter Storm Severity Index, and you can see parts of Little Rock in that major category. Northwest Arkansas already in the highest category possible, as we are now looking at satellite and radar temperatures falling across the metro. Take a look at how quickly some of these temperatures are falling here in Little Rock, several degrees in just the last few hours. But you see Fayetteville there hovering around 26 degrees, and that is where we are seeing a lot of these impacts right now in Northwest Arkansas as conditions start to deteriorate, and we're starting to see this become really a thing. And I think that that's kind of what we were waiting for, is to see, okay, where is this going to start? How is this going to really develop over the course of the several hours? And you can see with another look here from Fayetteville, again, this is Northwest Arkansas. things are slow moving here. We have seen several vehicles using their emergency lights, using their blinkers, their hazards, trying to let drivers know that conditions are dangerous, that they are going significantly slower than traffic itself for the posted speed limit. So you can really get an idea of the situation that so many people are starting to face on the roads. Again, RDOT announcing yesterday that if you do not have to be out on the roads, please stay off them. Things are going to be getting very dangerous here, and they're getting dangerous first in Northwest Arkansas. As we're taking another perspective here up in Northwest Arkansas, you can see very little traffic on the road right now, but I think what's really worth pointing out here is the pathway that has been created on the roads. So when you look at the interstate, you can really get an idea of how dangerous it can be, given the fact that you can see that it looks like just one pathway on that road for motorists at this hour, and that is likely going to be the trend. It looks like a few more, well, maybe there's not a path. It could be two. It's hard to tell from this perspective. Obviously, it is getting dark, so it's going to be hard to really pick up and see some of these conditions change in real time. So we're going to be here all night. The Arkansas Storm Team is on standby. We are ready to bring you live continuing coverage of this winter weather event. We'll have updates coming up on Fox 16 News at 9 here in just a few moments. And then, of course, we have KARK 4 News at 10 for you as well, where we will bring you the latest weather data. We'll bring you the latest weather information. We're going to show you this radar that you're looking at in real time. You're going to be able to see these temperatures drop in real time with us as we're watching it also from our weather center. And you can see a lot of those colors on the radar go from green to pink. And in this situation, pink is not good. So we're going to have continuing coverage on KARK.com, Fox16.com. Of course, download our mobile phone apps. This is where we will send you alerts directly to your smartphone. And make sure you download the Arkansas Storm Team app. Download the Arkansas Storm Team app. Go ahead, download the KARK4 News app. Also download the Fox 16 News app. All of those apps right now on your phone, because of a few different reasons, and let me explain why. Because if you get into a situation where you lose power, if you get into a situation where you cannot receive your television channels anymore, we will be here with you through the event. We will bring you these live updates throughout the night. We'll go ahead and send out alerts to your phone, maybe like you got one at the top of the hour at 8 o'clock. We will send alerts to your phone as this weather information and these updates come in, so you're always connected, even if you do lose power. So go ahead, charge your phones now. Entergy telling us just a few moments ago, if you missed it, that they are expecting widespread power outages across the state. And if you lose power, it could be several days, up to maybe even 5 in certain situations where if your home is damaged, if there's a significant issue getting to the electricity infrastructure, it could be up to 5 days. So charge your phones now. Try and keep them charged as long as you can, so that way you can receive important life-saving information as this new data continues to come in. But we're going to continue to follow all of this for you, both on air and online, and we'll have a live update coming up on Fox 16 News at 9, and of course KARK4 News at 10 as well. In the meantime, I'm Mitch McCoy here in Studio B in Little Rock. Have a good rest of your night, and please stay safe and stay off the roads.